Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano, and we can see prices dropping across the board today, but people panicking already. But to be honest, look at the 7-day percentage here on CoinMarketCap, and we can see Cardano still over 30% gain in a week. We are down to 267 at the moment. That's pretty much where we were yesterday, and people were gaining confidence again after the pump yesterday evening, at least UK time. So we had a drop yesterday, then we had another pump, and now we've got another drop. So you can see the volatility in the market. There's a lot of, it's not a lot of, it's not clear which way we are going. And I believe this is coming pretty much from Bitcoin, because as we have analyzed in the last few videos, we could see that Bitcoin is starting to lose momentum at the moment. And we didn't see that in ADA at first, but then now this is following in ADA as well. Cardano chart is losing momentum a little bit, so you can see that Bitcoin is pretty much leading the way in terms of that. And let's start with the Bitcoin chart briefly before we go to Cardano and spend a bit more time on Cardano to talk about, to make sense about the latest price moves and talk about what could be coming. Basically what we can see here on the Bitcoin chart, this is the 1 hour chart. This is what I said yesterday, that we could be dropping down to 47, which we have done, and we have bounced off this support level. So it still shows, and is another confirmation that this channel or this ascending wedge is actually valid. It's a valid pattern, this yellow one here. And for everybody who's just joining this channel, this is an ascending wedge in which Bitcoin is currently trading. Been trading in this since for the last 4 weeks or 5 weeks even. It's a bearish pattern. It indicates a potential trend reversal that could be coming. Doesn't need to come, but it could be coming. But yeah, let's just take a look here on the hourly chart. It looks a bit bearish on the hourly chart, definitely. What we saw here, this was yesterday. Yesterday we saw a bearish move here. So we had this bearish crossover of the two moving averages. That in itself doesn't mean much, but in addition to that, we have a descending trend on the RSI. So we've got a descending trend on the RSI, and we are in bearish territory of the RSI. This is only on the hourly chart. And we had a bearish crossover here of the two trend lines, which then basically pointed towards a drop, and it pretty much happened straight after that out of this other pattern here, another ascending wedge within this broader ascending wedge. So yeah, we saw that yesterday, and we are now down to this support line. I hope this will stay as it is at the moment. Whoops. I hope we will get some support here for the moment. But as you know, we can't really predict what's going to happen. We can only react to the market moves, and we can, based on the based on the current what the trend is showing, we can sort of make some assumptions. So for me, I mean, as I said, we're currently in bearish territory here on the hourly chart, and we are having the support. So the support is a strong one. It held several times before. So my view would be we hold this for the moment, but we should bear in mind that very soon, if this continues, is this the 20-day moving average, the blue line here? This could go down like that, yeah. And then we could see this crossing the yellow line here, which is the 200-day moving average. So that is another bearish move. On top of that, we are on the 1 hour chart in a bearish range here of the RSI. So if that bearish crossover takes place, and then also potentially the other moving average, which is the 51, also crossing the 200-day moving average to the downside, that could predict that we go down further. I just want to mention that we've been talking about Bitcoin losing momentum for a couple of days now, and this is just something we need to be aware of and closely observe. It is something potentially that could take us out of this ascending wedge and could point towards a longer, or not necessarily too long, but a few weeks of consolidation potentially on the Bitcoin chart. And that's certainly something to be aware of. Bear in mind, this is now only on the hourly here, but let's take a look at if the 4 hour looks a bit more bullish. On the 4 hour chart, we have now also entered the bearish range on the RSI, guys. So it's not looking too good at the moment for Bitcoin. I just want to make that clear here. What we can see that we haven't had a bearish crossover of the RSI, of the moving averages here yet on the 4 hour chart. That is something that we are going to track closely in the next few days. But if that happens, that could potentially lead us to cross here below and close, maybe, yeah, break out to the downside of this ascending wedge. So if you get a bearish crossover of these moving averages, it is not necessarily bad, not necessarily, but it can indicate a trend reversal if we also have a descending or a falling trend on the RSI, and especially if we're below 50. Yeah, so let's take a look at the daily. So here on the daily, we can see that we are still in bullish territory. We are losing momentum, but we are still bullish, and we are not close to a bearish crossover. We've actually just had a bullish crossover here of the 20-day moving average crossing the 200-day moving average. That was bullish. So what this basically tells me is that, on this shorter time frame, on 1 hour and 4 hour charts, we are potentially bearish. On the daily chart, and especially on the weekly, we are still extremely bullish actually. Yes, we are losing momentum here as well, but as long as we are also here on the weekly, as long as we are actually in this bullish range, I'm not too worried. But it is important that we need to understand that as long as we are here, as long as we are in a positive trend, because we've got these moving averages going up, we are above the moving averages on the weekly in terms of price moves, and we are not seeing a bearish crossover, and we are still above 50 on the RSI, I'm not too worried. However, if that changes, this is then an important indicator. Yes, this is important. So for me, when looking at these charts, it's never enough just to look at one indicator like the moving averages. You also need to combine the moving averages, for example, with the RSI. That is one way of combining indicators. So that is why short term, I'm now a bit bearish on Bitcoin, I must admit. Longer term or medium term, and we're talking weeks here, I'm bullish. But it could mean that maybe for a week or two we could be seeing a little bit of a consolidation of Bitcoin or losing momentum. Let's take a look at ADA. Is looking ADA any different? So what we can see, we start again on the hourly chart. So we are seeing here that on the hourly chart, again here ADA, we had that bearish crossover on the hourly chart of these moving averages, very similar to Bitcoin. We're also in the bearish range on the hourly chart, which tells me it's not looking too good at the moment on the hourly one. So that means to me that very, very short term, there is some further consolidation, and we have also broken out to the downside on the hourly chart of this ascending channel. It was a bit of a broadening wedge, but an ascending channel really, I think. So we had support here yesterday. We found support, bounced off. We went into this triangle formation this morning that I talked about, and I said, before this lunchtime update, there will be a breakout. I said my guess would be to the upside, but we broke to the downside. You're never sure, but for certain a breakout was happening, and it did. It's quite a bit of volume here to the downside. And actually, if we take a look at these moving averages, that negative crossover or that bearish crossover, and also the downtrend on the RSI, it would have probably made more sense to say that we are going down here. So let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, which looks a bit better for ADA. So on the 4-hour chart, we can actually see that we are dropping further, but we've gained support here. We've had the support here yesterday, very close to the 255 level that we also had support yesterday. So what this indicates is that this is a strong support level. So we yesterday went down all the way down to nearly 255, bounced off. This was a support level we put on the chart here, bounced off, saw another, basically a bounce, and then went into this triangle formation. And now we broke out to the downside. However, bear in mind, this candle hasn't closed yet. It will close in about an hour. So maybe we can secure our way back into this triangle. However, as this currently looks, it's not too likely, and I tell you why. So even though we haven't really had a bearish crossover here of the moving averages yet, we are currently below. The price action is currently below this moving average here, below this the 20-day moving average on the 4-hour chart, and we are currently below it. And yes, we have gained some support here, but we only have an hour to claim that back, I think. And we are currently now entering bearish territory here on the 4-hour chart on the RSI. We're pretty much now at the break of getting from the bullish range above 50 to the bearish range, which is just below 50. And we've also seen now for the last few hours, and also since yesterday, actually a dropping momentum here. So Well, it's one indicator alone like that is not enough to say that it will stay bearish on the 4-hour chart, because we haven't had that bearish crossover, I've just told you. But I'm sure if we were to take some shorter range moving averages in there, there would probably be a bearish crossover somewhere. So, but I like to use the 20 and 50 day moving averages. But yeah, it's not looking too good. So we just need to wait what's going to happen. In the short term, I mean. But generally, don't forget that this level is still like a few days ago. This was the all-time high. So people are always panicking, and again, like Bitcoin, even though it has an influence, I just showed you that Bitcoin still on the daily and weekly still looks very bullish. And let's take a look here on the daily chart for ADA, which again looks definitely more bullish than the 4-hour chart. But these are the things we just need to closely observe, because it starts on the hourly chart, it creeps up to the 4-hour time frame, and then it potentially might creep up to the daily. But here we are still, and that shows just a difference. We are still just moving out of overbought territory on the daily. So extremely bullish still, all the trend lines going up, no bearish crossover of the RSI, of the moving averages. There was even a bullish crossover here, and you can clearly see that on the daily, where we had that bullish crossover, was a clear buy signal when we had on the 9th of August the 20-day crossing above the 50-day moving average, and at the same time we had a rising RSI, so a clear buy indicator that was. But yeah, currently I don't see a trend reversal here on the daily. That's important to keep in mind. And we are just consolidating at the moment, as it seems, because we need to get out of this overbought territory of the RSI. I think that's one reason why we're dropping at the moment. Of course, Bitcoin has been dropping as well, but Bitcoin is actually recovering a little bit at the moment. We've just seen that because it bounced off this lower support line at the 47,000. So yeah, just to show you that really. And here on the daily, we're currently looking at, we'd also broken out on the daily, currently below this ascending wedge. Sorry, not ascending wedge. Yeah, ascending wedge pretty much, or ascending channel. It's close enough to a channel for me. But yeah, the daily candle hasn't closed, obviously. So it will be interesting to see where that candle closes. Will be interesting to see if we hold the 255 support. That will be extremely interesting. So yeah, this evening we can have a closer look at it, and then we can see if that pattern is transforming, changing in any way or whatever. But even if I just want to really in this video, these lunchtime updates, I never have a lot of time, but I want to put your mind at ease a little bit. A few people have been panicking in the comments. The breakout, we said, happened, but it just happened to the downside. But we were sure a breakout was going to happen, so it was very interesting to watch that. The 4-hour one, the candle hasn't closed yet, so maybe that is not final, that we've broken out to the downside. So we just need to observe that. But again, here, like on the weekly, we can have another look on the weekly. On the weekly, I mean, again, very, very bullish. All the moving averages pointing up, and also the RSI in overbought territory. So just shows that there just needs to be that kind of consolidation. And if we take another look on the daily, I mean, I showed you, I won't go all the way back now, but I showed you yesterday that, when we had, before the last hard fork, which was 1st of March, before that, we had drops of, temporarily like 20-30% of ADA. So at the moment, if we just take the peak here and go down where we are now, it's like 11% at the moment. So, and we were down like 12-13% today. So from the top. So don't worry at the moment. Yes, I know a few people have actually like swapped some coins for ADA, and eventually it's all your decision to make. And for me, I have my diamond hands. I'm gonna hold on to my ADA. Still think this will turn bullish eventually in the shorter range as well. I think in the long range or medium term even, or even weekly basis, we are still very bullish, so no need to panic. Normal consolidation in a currently still uptrending market. That is, I can tell you that because of the moving averages, which are clear trend filters, trend indicators. Together with the RSI, it shows we are extremely bullish. And as long as I don't see like a bearish crossover here, or a sort of negative trend on the daily and the weekly, I remain confident. And then there needs to be a shorter term negative trend on the RSI, but it's important to stay above the 50 for me. That's just what I want to look out for. And Bitcoin as well, climbing up at the moment again. And this up and down is just happening because there's so much happening in the crypto markets. And on the daily, we're having a look at the daily. So up here we can see when we actually had these tops here. There was a bit of an indecision moment, yeah, so red candle, green candle, red candle, so wasn't really sure where we were going, but we bounced off the $3. I'm sure we'll take another approach, and we're going to observe what kind of patterns play out throughout the day, and I will let you know as soon as we maybe enter another triangle formation that another breakout is likely. At the moment, can't see that because we've just broken out. As you know, as soon as we have these big price moves and then there's a slight consolidation, the candles get smaller, it always points towards that there might be a breakout happening. And at the moment, what is for sure, we're not getting closer to the $3 line at the moment, so just need to closely observe that. And if we go back to the 1 hour chart, maybe to finish that, you can clearly see that on the 1 hour we've actually tested this already. So on the 1 hour we've actually went up again, tried to get through, sort of didn't even get too close to that line. So I believe we might actually stay below it for now. It looks like that. Don't think that in the next 45 minutes we'll get above this support resistance level here, but to be fair, the 255 level is a good support line, and it is still above like the old all-time high. So all right, nothing to worry about. Let's stay close to it. I've got my diamond hand, so I'm holding long term anyway, and you know that I'm holding for the years to come, because I think, you know, in a few years we'll look back, we'll never have these prices again. All right, let me know what you think about all of this. I hope yeah, you're not too stressed out. I know a few people get emotional already, but there's no reason, because just a few days ago we made an all-time high, and you don't make all-time highs in bear markets. So all right, so hopefully you like that update. Hope you appreciate that I take the time out of my day to do this a few times a day, and hope you yeah, give the video a like. Please comment, that's very important for the algorithm, and please subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you later. Bye.